It didn't seem that long ago that if you wanted a big, powerful gaming laptop, you had to put up with having a monstrously big device. But Asus is trying to change that with the ROG Zephyrus M16. I'm Cam Bunton from Pocket-lint, and this is my review. And while you're here, if you could tap like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, that would be splendid. There's a lot to like about the way Asus built its Zephyrus M16 for 2021. The ROG team have realised that the name of the game is subtlety. You can make it look like a gamer laptop, but don't push it too far that it puts people off. Those who want something a bit more subtle. That means you still get a splash of colour, but it's not in your face about it. For instance, the front cover looks like a subtle matte black surface half covered in tiny machined holes. Then you shine light at it, and you see a flash of rainbow colour coming through from the underside. It's both eye-catching and subtle at the same time. Then the hinge that holds the cover or display rotates underneath the body of the laptop so that it lifts it up at an angle, so when you open it, it gives more room for airflow. What's more, the screen can keep going until it's lying completely flat if you want it to. On the inside, the screen is surrounded by a super skinny bezel, and because it's a 16:10 display, that includes the bottom bezel. There's no massive chin on this thing. What's really nice though is the texture of the laptop's body. Rather than be a cold, hard and shiny metal, the matte black finish has more of a soft, warm and grippy feel. It's a nice soft touch finish, so it's a pleasure to rest your wrists on as you get your game on. One thing that can definitely be said for this beast of a laptop is that it's got all the ports you could possibly want. Up the left there's a power port, a full-sized HDMI 2.0B, there's Ethernet, USB 3.2 Type A, two Type C ports and a 3.5mm input and output for headphones and mics. Up the right side you'll find a microSD card slot and another USB 3.2 Type A. It's worth noting here that one of those Type C ports we mentioned is a USB 3.2 and the other is Thunderbolt 4. So both of them can do power delivery and DisplayPort. So that means you can charge them by USB-C if you want to, however you'll get much faster charging using the admittedly very bulky power brick. Undoubtedly the most impressive thing about this laptop's design though is its size. It's a 16-inch laptop, but crammed into the form of a 15-inch laptop. So you get the bigger screen without having to add any bulk. Yes, it's still chunky compared to your MacBook Pros of this world, but for a 16-inch gaming machine, it's surprisingly portable and compact. The keyboard design is similarly well thought out. It's not too cramped with well-spaced keys, pleasing travel, and good tactile response. It's a great keyboard to type on and one that's easy to get used to day in and day out. It didn't take long for us to get accustomed to touch typing on it. Plus, it's not annoyingly loud either. So you can feel a definite click, but don't really hear it all that much. No more than any other slim-keyed notebook. There are also 4 dedicated buttons above the keyboard, making it easy to adjust volume, enabling and disabling the mic, and launching Asus's own customization software called Armoury Crate. Of course, the keys are backlit using RGB LEDs, with any number of colour-changing effects to choose from to suit your mood. While there's no doubt this is a great gaming machine, which we'll get into later, it has much more about it hardware-wise, making it primed and ready for just about anything, and that includes media consumption. A big part of it, of course, is the display. At 2560 by 1600 resolution, it's certainly sharp enough for just about anything. Obviously not quite 4K, but it's noticeably sharper than Full HD. But it's not just about sharpness, it's about how it delivers colour and contrast. Watching Netflix originals delivers superb natural colours and it never seems to oversaturate them. It's Dolby Vision compatible as well, so any HDR content on Netflix, for example, will look superb. It's also no surprise that Asus has been keen to boast about its 100% DCI-P3 colour gamut and its Pantone validation. It's made an effort to tune it to high professional standards, and it shows. Those qualities also make it primed and ready for content creation for those who need to edit photos and edit video on the move and at home. It really is very versatile. And the fact that it has an anti-glare surface means if you're working in a bright environment, you won't have to deal with distracting reflections. To add to its media consumption capabilities, Asus also built in a 6-speaker system, which is genuinely great. Of course, it's not the same as having a dedicated speaker, but for a set of laptop speakers it's immersive and balanced. Great for watching movies and listening to music on. But as we'll discuss in the performance and gaming section, it's useless for demanding games. With the laptop plugged in and switched to performance mode, or the even more impressive turbo mode, gaming is quick, easy and responsive. We were testing the machine powered by Intel's 11th Gen Core i9 processor. Plugged in and in performance mode, the multi-core score of 12,456 dwarfed the 9,772 points it scored unplugged and in silent mode. Kicking into turbo mode yielded even more impressive results with a score of 14,190. Similarly, when we ran it through the Heaven benchmark, most of the time it was running through the graphics tests and it hit between 100 and 125 frames per second, with it rarely ever dipping below 100. It wasn't too different on Forza Horizon 4's benchmarking test with resolution set to maximum and ultra settings enabled. It consistently hit 100 frames per second throughout the test race scene. But that's benchmarking. It's real-life performance that matters more, we think. And in this regard, it delivers in spades. Games rarely dropped a frame, and whether it was racing in Forza Horizon 4 or shooting enemies in Gears 5 or Control, the M16 kept up with the lot of it, delivering instant responses in games where it really does need to be quick. With more power though being driven through the CPU and GPU, this means that more cooling is required, and boy, can you hear it. Once in turbo mode and running Control, the fans became so loud we couldn't hear the audio or dialogue in the game, through the speakers at least, and so we had to switch on the subtitles and use on-ear headphones. One thing that can be said, however, switching gears, is that in silent mode when working, listening to music and such, the fans are genuinely silent. We struggle to hear them sat on our desk away from a power source. The only issue with silent mode and with the iGPU enabled, it doesn't make use of the dedicated graphics card, so intensive games just won't run well in this mode. If you want to fine-tune to your liking, you can. Asus's Armoury Crate software, which has its own dedicated button, will let you switch between performance modes. However, if you want to create your own manual setting or switch to turbo, you have to have the power plugged in. It simply doesn't let you run either of those two modes while you're trying to run off the battery. And that makes complete sense. Gaming laptops are rarely known for their outstanding battery life. In fact, even with the laptop in silent mode and the battery setting at better battery, the laptop will barely last more than 4 hours on a full charge. In performance mode it'll get to about an hour and a half, but it's in performance and turbo mode and in those dedicated high performance gaming modes that this laptop really sings. Because it didn't seem to matter what we threw at it, it never seemed to struggle. Even if we did have to have headphones on. So while silent mode doesn't let you game, there's some sense that it tames the beast, making it a more friendly work and productivity machine, which is actually quite wonderful for a laptop that's primarily aimed at gamers. You get the best of both worlds. Granted, there are elements that make it not perfect for those long work days, the battery life being chief among those. This is a gaming machine first and foremost, after all. It's more for those who want a great gaming machine first, but don't want an impractical laptop for daily working on. It's hard not to get too carried away with excitement though, because it's a stunningly good gaming laptop and will eat up most games for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Plus it looks hot and has a great display. What's not to like? I've been Cam, I'm at Cam Bunton on social media. If you want to get in touch, you can do. You can also use the comments down below to let me know what you think of this laptop. Is it going to be your next gaming machine? Don't forget, if you like this video, please do leave a like. It helps us a lot. Tap subscribe and the notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.